Good morning and welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. We're meeting here at 4 Points by Sheraton on Airport Boulevard, and I want to welcome you to the meditation portion of our service. My name is Marianne Atwell Hardy, and we're going to start today, as we always do, with the meditation. I'm going to do a reading, and then we're going to get quiet because this helps us prepare the space for what will follow, which is an amazing service and an amazing concert after that. So settle in, and I invite you to either put your hand on your heart or literally cradle your chin, because I'm going to be talking about self-care. And I think anything we can do to cradle ourselves. I'm going to read from Kate Bowler's book, Have a Beautiful, Terrible Day. And she's a professor at Duke Divinity School here. It says, chances are you take care of someone else too. Your life is not simply yours to shape, but your days and weeks and years are tangled up in the days and weeks and years of another person's needs. This is where a story of American self-determinism really breaks down. We don't shape our destinies very often. We're incredibly busy worrying about those we love who are very old or very young or who have unfixable problems. But sometimes, especially this time of year, we get so overwhelmed by the needs of others that we feel like we disappear. And it might feel selfish to think about our own needs. Consider this lovely thought by Thomas Merton, whose insights into the spiritual life have been a beacon to so many. He wrote, "Our vocation is not simply to be, but to work together with God in the creation of our own life, our own identity, our own destiny." In other words, we're called not only into creating life for others, but creating our own life and identity. So her prayer, God, I'm a shapeshifter, hidden in plain sight, a great disappearing act. Every now and again, when I'm spinning in a tornado of other people's needs and wants, I worry that if I stepped out of it to stand dumbfounded for a moment, my body would cast no shadow. God, I vanish. The unnecessary pain and necessary needs of others feel durable, measurable. God, look at how much they need me. Isn't it necessary that I am not myself today? God, remind me of my own goodness, the way you look at me and grin, the way the earth can stretch to hold my own dreams when I remember them. God, let my stomach grumble and I eat. Let me be delighted and I laugh. Let me tire and I rest. Give my heart peace today as I am here, surprisingly myself, while the world spins and spins. So, offering that love to yourself today. Just take a pause and let's get quiet. Make sure and take some very deep belly breaths. let yourself feel that love. I thank you for being part of this meditation. When you're ready, I invite you to slowly come back into the room, or not, whatever feels good to you in this moment. But at this point, we here are going to open our eyes and get ready for the service that will start at 10:15. Thank you again for your presence.
morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Whether you are here in our sanctuary at 4 Points by Sheridan or if you've invited us into your homes through the power of live streaming, we are very glad that you have chosen to join us today on this beautiful, but slightly chilly morning. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dusty Rippelmeyer, and I have the honor and the privilege of being this community's spiritual director. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that honors all paths and promotes global transformation through personal transformation. We're a spiritual community that can support you as you strive to experience a personal relationship with God. A spiritual community where you are respected and accepted just for being who you are, and a spiritual community that offers loving support to grow into your highest and best self. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, and Centers for Spiritual Living is a global community of over 450 spiritual centers, special focus ministries, and teaching chapters in 30 countries around the globe. Centers for Spiritual Living is a practical and positive philosophy, faith, and way of life whose vision is a world that works for all. Now, I mean, who cannot get behind that, right? So we have a couple of flower dedications today, these beautiful flowers here. And it's the first Sunday of the month. And so we always celebrate all of the birthdays that happen during that month. So how many people have a birthday in December? Okay, I'm going to assume that a couple of you out there have a birthday in December. And so we welcome you today, and we hold our hands out to you. So if everyone can hold your hands out to the greater area, and please repeat after me. We see you. We know who you really are. We celebrate the day that you arrived on the planet. We affirm for you a year filled with all good. We honor you, and we love you. Happy birthday. Now, our second flower dedication is from Diane Carnes and is dedicated to her mother. She says, "In loving memory of my mom, Mary Mitchell, a remarkable woman who made her transition 10 years ago. She touched so many with her kind words and caring nature. Her smile brightened every room. She was full of life. She taught the principles of science of mind through her example. We all miss her, especially around the holidays, as she celebrated Christmas so abundantly. We know she is always with us. I am privileged beyond words to be her daughter. In loving memory, Diane." To Mary Mitchell. I would like to thank Mary Ann Hardy for her beautiful meditation that really expanded the container that our service will unfold within. And now please welcome Carol Cross with our announcements.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to December. Since it's December, it means we got a bunch of special things going on, so our announcements will be a little bit longer than usual, but hang in there because they're all great. And I'm just filling in for the incomparable Sean Chalky, who is on a family vacation this week, but he'll be back, so don't worry. Okay, our Wednesday evening services throughout 2024 are called Beyond Sunday. Beginning in December, we will have a series called Celebrating the Light. This includes all the light that is present during this month of amazing and sacred holidays. Join us as we dive deeply into Kwanzaa, winter solstice, and Hanukkah. There will be no Wednesday evening service on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. There is still time to join us for a concert by the amazing singer-songwriter Jessie Powers. She's here doing our music during the service, but she will also be facilitating a concert following the service at 12:30. She is calling it a post-holiday cozy concert. Comfy clothes, warm drinks, and blankets are encouraged. $20 is a suggested love offering, or pay whatever you can. We will set out some tables and chairs for people to break bread together between the service and the concert. We have some turkey pot pie soup here for you if you would like to join us for that. So if you don't know Jessie and you're not here yet and you hear her song and you're just like, I can't miss it, hop in your car, come on down. We want to have everybody enjoy this amazing experience with us. Winter is the perfect time to start or to restart a regular journaling practice, as it is a tool for spiritual growth. Winter is a time of introspection and reflection. Make the most of this season's unique energy by exploring journaling techniques that address some of our biggest personal issues. Join us for Crystalline Clarity, a winter spiritual journaling workshop. The workshop will be held here at 4 Points by Sheraton on Sunday, December 8th, from 12 to 3. So next fun day. The cost is a suggested $30, but today is the final day that you can reserve your spot at info@trianglecsl.org. And I'm facilitating the workshop, so of course, I'd love to see you there. This holiday season, let's help to bring delight to a child on Christmas morning. TCSL is participating in the Marines Toys for Tot campaign in cooperation with the Morrisville Fire Department. If you would like to contribute, just bring a new unwrapped toy to our Sunday service on December 1st or December 8th, and Diane Carnes will collect them and transport them to the fire depot. Toys are needed for all age children up to age 12, but no toy weapons or food are accepted. If you have any questions, please contact Diane Carnes at dtg999@gmail.com. All right, we will celebrate Christmas Eve in a light and music-filled service on Tuesday evening, December 24th. This evening is called Inspired to Shine. Karen Daly and Cindy Johnson will inspire us with their music. There will be a potluck reception with hors d'oeuvres and desserts from 9 to 6 before the service. So please bring a dish or a dessert to share. The service begins at 6. The entire evening will be held here at 4 Points by Sheraton at 1300 Clarence Circle in Morrisville. Then, New Year's Eve will be a special evening of inspirational message, meditational music, and ritual. We join together in community to say goodbye to 2024 and welcome in 2025 in a very powerful way. The service begins at 6 o'clock and will be held at 4 Points by Sheraton. And then the next day, on New Year's Day, we will be facilitating our annual Visioning and Vision Board workshop. Be prepared to download your highest and best for the new year. Start now by gathering up any magazines you may have lying around to use in the process. We will supply all the other necessary materials. Once again, please RSVP at info@trianglecsl.org so we know how many people will be attending. This event will also be held at 4 Points by Sheraton at 1300 Clarence Circle in Morrisville. We will begin the visioning at 12 o'clock and follow that with the creation of our vision boards from 1 to 3. So, I hope to see many of you at many of these events. Now, let's please welcome back Marianne Atwell-Hardy to the podium.
Good morning. The theme for the year 2024 is A Grand Rising. Our theme for the month of December is Sticking the Landing. And Rev Dusty's message today is Standing on Solid Air. I'm now going to read this community's purpose statement, which is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. So I invite you now to just wiggle in your chair, get comfortable, turn within, and just let the sound of the crystal bowls wash over you. Be sure and listen all the way to the end. Deep breath. I invite you to very slowly come back into the room, into your body. And now we will have a ceremony because the Center for Spiritual Living honors both the truth that we are all created by God out of the same God stuff and that there is a multiplicity of divine emanations, each individualized and unique in their own way as represented by this ceremony. So I'm going to invite Summer up to assist this morning. Whether this is your first time with us or your 1,000th time or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are in the room physically or participating via technology or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your soul is full of joy and possibility or your heart is heavy, and your mind is consumed with troubles or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you are brand new to the science of mind philosophy or you have practiced it for a long time or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether your skin, eye, and hair color are a rich, dark shade, or you're the palest tint of color or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are a straight cisgender man or woman, or you identify with the LGBTQ plus community, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether your politics tend toward the red side or toward the blue side, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here, just as you are. Whether you were born and raised in this country or came here from a different land or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are married or single or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you are in the first third of your life, the third third of your life, or somewhere in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Whether you feel your connection with God is the driving force in your life, or you aren't sure you even believe in God, or something in between, you are loved and accepted here just as you are. Each and every color is beautiful, unique, and significant, and they all combine together into an amazing whole. Thank you all for contributing your special vibration to today's service and to life itself. Thank you. So it is.
Good morning, everyone. What a lovely crowd we have today. Please close your outer eyes if you're comfortable and turn within as I speak a word of blessing on today's service. My heart is full of gratitude this morning for our amazing community. Knowing the presence of Spirit is always there, but it just feels so much closer these Sunday mornings amongst all of these loving, beautiful people. I know that presence as love, as joy, as infinite peace. I know it as the universe, as nature, as each person I pass on the street. I know that it is all God, it is all Spirit. I know that I am one with all of that, just as every sentient being is. I'm so grateful to know that we are all one. So grateful to know that we are bound together by that golden thread of God's stuff. This morning I would love to speak a word of blessing on today's service, knowing that it is whole, perfect, and complete, even though it is barely begun. Blessing Reverend Dusty as she comes forward with her message today, knowing that each of us will hear something that allows us to grow our hearts a little bit bigger in our lives. Blessing the amazing Jess Powers as she graces us with her gift of music and the gift of her presence. Blessing Ava for her commitment to our community and her expertise back in the AV booth, allowing us to be seen and heard online and in the room. Blessing Mary Ann for her beautiful meditation and her service to the community. Blessing Carol for her commitment and for her pitch hitting the announcements today. And blessing each and every soul in our community, each beautiful person that brings their individual gifts, talents, and treasures to this community. So grateful for each and every one of them. For all of these blessings and for so many blessings that I'm not even aware of, I'm grateful. Please anchor this prayer with me by saying, "And so it is." Thank you. Our reading for today is from Neil Donald Walsh. In his book, Conversation with God, Neil Donald Walsh has a conversation with God in which he asks God, "Why is it that you do not reveal yourself? If there really is a God and you are it, why do you not reveal yourself in a way that we can understand?" God answered, "I have done so over and over again. I am doing so again right now." Neil says, "No, I mean by a method of revelation that is incontrovertible, that it cannot be denied." And God replies, "Such as?" Neil replies, "Such as appearing right now before my eyes." God says, "I am doing so right now." And Neil asks, "Where?" And God replies, "Everywhere you look." Now, please help me in welcoming the amazing Jess Powers to the stage. Am I starting? Great.
So we're talking about wrapping up this year's theme and sticking the landing with all of these amazing principles that we've learned. And funny enough, this song is about when I threw out all of my spiritual books. I didn't throw them out, I put them in the basement. Because I think part of sticking the landing is internalizing these things and not just reading them over and over again. They're in the center of my soul. I can feel it all around me. Something holy and untold. But I hear it perfectly. Somehow in the deepness of now, I can see I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Here and now I can see I was made beautifully. I was made in the image. Yes, I was made in the image of love. Beyond books and words and songs, at the gate of all my longing, leaving certainty behind. I take one step and you come running. It's clear. Ooh, in the sweetness of here.
made in the image of love. Now, we could look that up in one of our books, and Jess Power's picture would be there, for sure. It's such a blessing to have you with us this morning. Thank you so very much. Another round of applause. So, could you put up that little image that has the title of the talk up there, just for a second, if it's easy. Okay. So I just want to do a shout out to Roberta Gilgore, because she's behind the scenes and she's the creative force back of all of the constant contacts that go out. Now, I'm sure you can imagine that some of the talk titles are a little hard to find images for, but look at this one. Standing on Solid Air. Now, I think she deserves a little bit of honor about that. That was a good find. You know, what do you Google? Images of standing on solid air. And then this shows up. And then I can grab it off of the constant contact and use it for the PowerPoint. So thank you very much, Roberta. I so appreciate you. So the theme for the month of December is Sticking the Landing. And as we really contemplate that theme, the invitation is to think about a gymnast, right? At the end of a gymnastic performance, after all of the twirls and spins and twists and somersaults, the gymnast must land upright on their feet. And like the gymnasts at the end of this year, having explored all of the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the conversations and the beliefs around the yearly theme of a grand rising, the intention is for us to land on our feet. And to not only land on our feet, but to land on our feet grounded in timeless principles. So the title of my message is Standing on Solid Air. Now, this might seem like a little bit of an oxymoron, standing on solid air. The air doesn't always seem all that solid, right? Now, perhaps it should be called Standing on Solid Ground, which is what I'm sure that people thought I had just made a mistake on the script or I made a mistake on the PowerPoint. But no, indeed, it is Standing on Solid Air. And while we might think it makes more sense to say Standing on Solid Ground, the physicist, the quantum physicist among us, might tell us that things in the world, in the physical world, the world of form, are not as solid as we might think they are. That ultimately what we call thought and form are both energies being shaped by our expectations and by our perceptions. So thus we begin today with a conversation around the core beliefs of the Science of Mind teaching as the solid air upon which we stand. The solid air upon which we stand. Now, in our lives, everything flows from beliefs. So it behooves us to stand on the solidity of those beliefs, on the truth of those beliefs as we stick the landing during this final month of 2024. In order to do this, the invitation is to get ourselves in alignment with the highest truths that we can discern at this time. So all of those truths that Jess read about in all of the books that are now down in the basement still mean something, whether they're in the basement or up in her room. And the idea, as she said, to embody them, to really get into alignment with them so they're not just rumbling around inside of our heads. That we really want to be able to stick that landing and stand firmly grounded in them as we move through the end of this year and into 2025. So in 1927, mind you, 1927, Ernest Holmes first published his What I Believe statements in the very first issue of the Science of Mind magazine, which we still receive to this day. Now, the very first and foundational belief around which our whole teaching stands is we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. What? So the name, of course, is not important. Now, I call it God, but it goes by many different names: Spirit, love, life, the absolute first cause, and for some people, nothing at all. Many here grew up with an idea of God that did not resonate with them. In fact, just rubbed them wrong. That doesn't feel like my God. That doesn't feel like I believe in that. Right? So you may have even left the church of your family and ultimately ended up here at the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Because something within you was seeking something different than the old dogma or the old rhetoric that you learned as a child. Something different. So the bottom line is that whatever name we use, whatever name works for us to convey in our minds that infinite presence, is the name we should use. And we're also encouraged to leave a little bit of space and grace around that name, because ultimately that name may even change over time as our understanding and our relationship with that power and presence changes. So what we call it today, we might not call it tomorrow. And in the end, it's not important. It has been said that the starting point in spiritual realization is the right understanding of the one designated as the Almighty. But I would venture to believe that for as many names as there is for that power and presence, there is even more ways to describe it. And I think that each of us, while arriving on the planet, had probably a similar idea of what that was, that over time, we very quickly began to be taught or to absorb and then ultimately to believe in whatever our parents or our specific cultures or races or religion or lack of religion said or thought or believed about God. Joel Goldsmith says, the hardest part of your spiritual journey is to rise above the concepts of God that you have always accepted. Whether your concept of God has come from a church, from your parents, or from your own experiences in life, regardless of where or how you acquired your particular concept of God, and regardless of what that concept may be, it is not God. There is nothing that you know about God that is God. Back to what Jesse said. So there is no idea of God that you can entertain that is God. There is no possible thought that you can have about God that is God. So it really makes no difference what our idea may be or what our concept would be. It remains an idea, or it remains a concept. And that idea or that concept is not God, but just something that is pointing to God and not God itself. So rather than continuing to try to ask or to explain what God is, the invitation is to simply rest in the truth that God is. Everywhere and at all times, God is. Ernest Holmes then goes on to state, this one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. The bottom line is that there is a universal mind. Spirit, intelligence, again, whatever you want to call it, that is the origin of everything. It is that which is back of everything, seen and unseen. Everything is swimming in that infinite universal mind. Now there is one life that is back of it at all, of all of it, and energizes everything. It is that which breathes us, that which animates us, that which supports us, that which guides us, that which unconditionally loves us. This universal life finds itself as an inlet and an outlet through all that it created. Through me, as me. Right? He then says, I believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. Now this is a fancy way to say, right? Fancy way to say that we believe that God shows up as us. That right where I am, God is, in its fullness and in its wholeness. The life that we live is the universal life expressing itself through us. Expressing through each of us, individually and collectively. That is how the divine experiences life on earth. Through us, as us, in all of our uniqueness. Think about this. Every longing, every yearning, every dream, every desire that we have ever had is a whispering of that life seeking to be expressed through us. I love that idea. We are a manifestation of it, a personification of it, a hologram of it, and an ambassador of its presence on the planet. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, one in which God shows up as us to experience the world, and not only to just experience the world, but to experience the world in the only way that we can, uniquely, individualized to each of us. The principle of oneness is the foundation of our teaching, right? The philosophy of the science of mind, faith, and way of life is all about oneness. It's a principle that we talk about time and time again here. One power, one presence, one life, one mind, one love. Now, oneness seems like really, right, on the surface to be a very simple idea. A very simple idea, a simple concept. But the question that arises within me is it actually so easy to really comprehend, to really embody, and to really radically practice it in our everyday lives? I'm seeing some, not so much. Now, I think for most of us, it's kind of pretty easy to comprehend on an intellectual level, right? Read the book, get it. Read the book, get it. Sometimes I read the book another time and I highlight stuff, and then the next time I read it, I underline it as though it was the first time I had ever read it in my entire life. Oh, that's a new idea. That's a new idea. Switch. So while it's, it seems like really easy for us to be able to do on an intellectual, it's not always that easy to really embody it or to practice it in our everyday lives. That becomes a little bit harder for each of us. In order to really know oneness, we have to be able to be willing to set aside our past, to move beyond our judgments, to let go of our need to be right and to really let go of any sense of being more special than anyone else. We're all special, but we're not more special than anyone else. While it's really legitimate to talk about a world of diversity, right? All different things. Heather spoke about it in her prayer. So a world of diversity because we see it, because we experience it. But even though we do, it's not the truth spiritually. Who we are is pure consciousness, expressing itself in different forms at different times throughout our lifetime, throughout our evolution. Ernest Holmes says the divine spark never made any two things alike. No two rose bushes, no two snowflakes, no two grains of sand, nor two persons. We are all just a little unique, for we each wear a different face, but behind each is the one presence, God. Now, all of these differences seem to separate us, right? That and that idea of solidity that we talked about before of the physical form. So these differences seem to separate us, but the bottom line is that divinity is at the center of everything. And through that golden thread, we are one. Oneness is where we all exist. Ernest Holmes then goes on to say, we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of your thought and acts upon it. So if you've been coming to the center for any length of time, you would have heard someone, somewhere, sometime along the way talking about this law. And talking about this law by talking about some of the spiritual, physical laws that exist in the world of form and kind of, equating it with that. So those laws, right, in the physical, in the world of form, work the same way all of the time for everyone. So we could think about gravity, or we could think about electricity. They work the same way all of the time for everyone. And so gravity is going to hold a piano in place just as easily as it's going to hold a piece of paper. And electricity is going to light up a house just as easily as it's going to light up a castle. There is no judgment on the part of gravity or on the part of electricity as to what or why. The laws work the same, operating on our choices. Neither gravity nor electricity really care about how we use them. They don't question. They only do what we ask of them. That is their nature. Jesus proclaimed a law of faith. It is done unto you as you believe. Now, it too, like the physical laws, works the same way all of the time for everyone with no exceptions. The law knows nothing about big or small. It doesn't care whether the person using the law is rich or poor, black or white, male or female, young or old. It has no judgment on what we want to do or to be or to have. The bottom line is that there is a law, a spiritual law that works on the mental plane. The law is mechanical in nature, and that it manifests inevitable results with mathematical precision. The mental manifests the physical, and the truth is that the universe is impersonal. It just says yes. It doesn't care. It just says yes. It's its nature to give, and it gives to all alike. The spiritual law is always a mirror reflecting our mental attitudes, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the feelings that we hold to be true about ourselves, about others, and about the world and our place in it. If we tell ourselves, I am abundant, creative, joyful, and free, and we really believe it, then that will be our experience in our life. If we tell ourselves, I'm not worthy of abundance, creativity, joy, and freedom, and we really believe that, even if that belief is unconscious, then that will be the experience of our life. We don't have to coerce, compel, control, manipulate, force, demand, beg, beseech, plead, bargain, or rationalize. None of that. We only have to know the truth beyond a shadow of a doubt. It is a law of faith. It is done unto you as you believe. We only have to align with the truth of who and what we are. We only have to remember that there is a power and presence within us, and we can use it. It is our awareness of that truth and our faith in it that is the most important thing in our lives. The most important thing in our lives. In order for us to have the awareness that Jesus had, our whole mental scope must be broadened. If we create from only that which we already know, then our lives will not change. If we continue to create from the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same feelings, and the same attitudes that we have always held to be true, then we will experience nothing more than what we have already experienced. More of the same, again and again and again ad nauseum. If we continue to create from the same expectancy, or from the same level of acceptance, then we will never have all that we desire. Something has to change. That something is us. So, how can we do this? Ernest Holmes says, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. So this statement assists us to realize that the universal truths aren't only for the chosen, but that they're actually for each and every single one of us. And that we can achieve understanding by strengthening our connection with our own God nature, with our own divine nature. We strengthen our connection through meditation, contemplation, visioning, walking in the woods, deep breathing, singing, dancing, whatever it is that creates a space and place where our hearts and minds are open and receptive. Whatever that is, every one of us is going to be different for each and every single one of us, but whatever opens our hearts and minds to that presence. I just received a story, and I'm going to share it with you. It seems a man decided to write a book about churches around the country. He started by flying to San Francisco and started working east from there. He went to a very large church and began taking photographs, etc. He spots a golden telephone on a wall and is intrigued with a sign that says $10,000 a minute. Seeking out the pastor, he asks about the phone and the sign. The pastor answers that the golden phone is, in fact, a direct line to heaven, and if he pays the price, he can talk directly to God. He thanked the pastor and continued on his way. And as he continues to visit churches in Seattle and Boise, Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, New York, Atlanta, and all around the United States, he finds more golden phones with the same sign and the same answer from each pastor. Finally, he arrives at a New Thought church, like us. We're a New Thought church, for those of you who may not know. But this time, the sign read, "Calls 25 cents." Fascinated, he asks the minister, "Reverend, I have been in cities all across the country and in all kinds of churches, and in each church I found this golden telephone and have been told that it's a direct line to heaven and that I could talk to God. But in other churches, the cost would have been $10,000 a minute. Your sign reads 25 cents a call. Why?" The minister smiled and replied, "Oh, that's easy to explain. You see, we know here that God is within you. That's just a local call." Ernst Holmes says, "For while it is true that we are immersed in an infinite intelligence, a mind that knows all things, it is also true that this intelligence can acquaint us with its ideas only as we are able and willing to receive them. This divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. We are that outlet. We are that outlet, each and every one of us. The invitation is to think of it as the essence of our own being and to declare that its life is our life. This allows its power to flow through us, which for me brings up another of Ernest Holmes' I believe statements. In this one, he says, "I believe in the healing of the sick and control of conditions through the power of this mind. And the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all." Now, this speaks to the power of prayer and how we can affect the situations through the creative process. It's important to note that this does not happen through the power of our own mind, but by aligning and flowing with the universal mind. Since God is life, it only knows life. Since God is wholeness, it only knows wholeness. Since God is love, it only knows love. Now, we may, on the other hand, really believe in the appearances and the conditions that are before us that have been created by a millennia of collective thoughts, by a plethora of people unaware of the nature of the divine. But those appearances are not real to infinite oneness. They're not real. They feel real sometimes. How this shows up for me is that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a power and presence that is within me and surrounding me. I know that I now have a personal relationship with that divine presence. My life has been forever changed by the teachings of the science of mind. And while I don't know about everybody, I do know about many of you who feel that exact same way. Now, I didn't have that relationship when I first walked into a Center for Spiritual Living for the first time. I did not have that kind of a relationship. I now have spiritual practices and tools that I can use to expand and deepen that relationship, such as meditation and contemplation, visioning, prayer. after learning about and practicing the principles in my own life, I now recognize that I have the ability to consciously co-create a life that I really love to live. The invitation today is to know that the divine nature is more real than what we call reality. That it's more solid than the appearances around us. And that like a gymnast on the field of life, right? We're like a gymnast on the field of life. We're being called to stick the landing. To land solidly with these beliefs, knowing that that infinite presence, that infinite being that is all that there is, that is within us and surrounding us, is in full support, is ready, willing, and able to give us the kingdom of heaven on earth, and that we can allow its nature to flow through and as us. And when we do so, all is well. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you. So I just invite everyone to turn within, to take a nice, deep, collective breath. To turn our attention inward to the center of our being, to that space and place that is life itself, that is the presence of joy, the presence of peace, the presence of abundance, the presence of wisdom, the presence of freedom, the presence of love. It truly is who and what we are. We were created by the presence in its image and likeness. We are all that it is, and yet it is so much grander, so much bigger, so much larger, so much more expansive than we are. I know that I am one with it, that I can never be separate from it. Because I can never be separate from it, I can never be separate from every sentient being on the planet. That golden thread of God stuff weaves itself throughout all of life. And together we are one. Oneness is the truth of who we are. Despite how separate we may look or feel at any given moment in time, the truth is we are one. And it's from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, that we arrived on the planet aware of who we are, aware of our deep and abiding connection with life and with that thing, the thing itself, as Ernest sometimes called it, that is within us and surrounding us. That we arrived on the planet knowing how to live from that space. And over time, things changed. Over time, we learned some things. Over time, we became separated, confused, doubtful, behind the veil, in the fog, whatever you want to say, that it seemed harder to connect. Not only with that presence, but with each other. But what I know and what I claim for each of us today is that is not the truth of our being. The truth of our being is that we are one. That we can never be separate from each other, never separate from the divine. And that because of that, its nature is always available to us. That creative energy, that loving presence, that joy-filled energy. We can turn away from anything and everything in our life and choose to turn our attention inward, choose to align ourselves with the truth of who and what we are, and allow that presence to speak, to act, to be through and as us in ways that we can't even in this moment imagine. And really, truly create magnificent lives for each other and create a world that works for all. I know that it is possible. And I'm so grateful to know this truth. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into that law that only ever says yes, that with my belief that where I am standing on the solid air of the principles of the science of mind, I can with full expectancy release these words into that law, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will manifest. And so I speak them and I release them into that law, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Center for Spiritual Living, our Center for Spiritual Living, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, relies on the generosity of its members. And this is the time when we offer financial support to allow this community to continue to be a beacon of light and love and warmth in the Greater Triangle area. I affirm that this offering really raises up this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are 3 ways that you can give, and they're here on the screen. Visit our website, trianglecsl.org. You can text the word GIVE to 919-629-9148, or you can send your gift to our PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. I now invite you to please place your hand with your gift or with an affirmation for yourself or someone else, and we'll do our conscious giving affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you all so very much for your generosity. And now let's please be as generous as we possibly can as we welcome the amazing, the talented, the beautiful Jess Powers.
Hello again. Oh, yes. Grab that. Thank you. So, before I start singing, just a shameless plug for Christmas presents. I have a merch table back there, just FYI. Shirts and hoodies and all kinds of things. So, that was an amazing talk, Rev. Thank you for that. And how funny that it tied in with the first song so much. So this is about that releasing, that letting go to the one mind. Sometimes it feels like my heart is stuck in a revolving door. It can get me down so much, I don't even want to mess with it anymore. Oh, that too familiar feeling, I know well, but I don't let it get too far. No, I'm too good at staying cool now. Yes, I am learning the art, and I'm getting good at letting go. Yeah, I'm getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know it ain't in my hands. I'm getting good at letting go. Yeah, I'm getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul's always got something better planned. And when the shadows come creeping in, like a thief from my past, I turn on the light by remembering only my soul knows my path. And I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know it ain't in my hands. I'm getting good at letting go, yeah, getting good at giving it over, 'cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul's always got something better planned, and I am unburdened. Yes, I am free when I believe. Hey! If I just keep trusting, if I keep the faith, I know I'll see. When I let go, and I know when I let go, and I know that my soul's always God. Yes, my soul's always God. Oh, my soul's always got something better planned. Something better is coming along, always and always. So I just trust, sit back, relax, 'cause that's the way that God works, yeah. Something better planned.
Thank you, Jess. That was beautiful. If you would like prayer for yourself or for something going on in your life, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org, and on the home page there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We'll get your prayer and send it out to all the ministers and practitioners. If you would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please send an email to info@trianglecsl.org or to Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. Now, in the comfort of your own home and here at 4 Points, please stand for our brand new December affirmations. This is a call and response, so please repeat it with meaning. Since Spirit is all there is, my work is to increase my understanding of and alignment with that infinite presence.
Since Spirit is all there is, my work is to increase my understanding of and alignment with that infinite presence.
As I do so, I connect ever more deeply with Spirit and open myself to the flow of its fire.
As I do so, I connect ever more deeply with Spirit and open myself to the flow of its fire.
As I allow the fire of Spirit to move me, I rise to new levels of joy and love.
As I allow the fire of Spirit to move me, I rise to new levels of joy and love.
As I recognize the ever-present light within me and let it shine, my own light becomes brighter.
As I recognize the ever-present light within me and let it shine, my own light becomes brighter.
As my own light becomes brighter, I light up the lives of others just by being who I am.
As my own light becomes brighter, I light up the lives of others just by being who I am.
As I complete this year of a grand rising, I look forward to what's next and loudly proclaim yes to life.
As I complete this year of a grand rising, I look forward to what's next and loudly proclaim yes to life.
And so it is. You may be seated. Thank you for that. That was powerful. Once again, please, if you are so comfortable, close your outer eyes and turn within as I speak a word of gratitude for today's service. So grateful for this moment to gather in our spiritual home, gather with friendly faces and loved ones, and hugs and smiles and meeting new people. So much gratitude for this center that I call home. Gratitude for Reverend Dusty's message today, knowing that each of us listened with open hearts and open minds and are going away with a gem or two that we can contemplate during the week and just further deepen that relationship with the divine. Gratitude for the amazing Jess Powers and her beautiful music. Gratitude for this opportunity to join together and the concert yet to come, knowing that it's going to be expanding this idea of growing our fire, deepening that love and joy in our lives. For all of this gratitude, I'm grateful, and so it is.
Thank you all to everyone who participated in the facilitation of this service. Thank you to the incomparable Jess Powers for her beautiful music. And really, if you're out there listening, there's plenty of time to get in your car and get over here for the concert, because she's amazing. You heard that. So come on over, grab yourself a little something to eat. We're going to set out some tables, partake of Carol Cross's turkey pot pie soup, and join us for the concert. It's, I know, sure to be amazing. So please come and join us for that. Otherwise, have an absolutely amazing week. We'll see you next week. I love you all.